In this lesson, I'll be talking about the Bootstrap Framework. So, what exactly is Bootstrap? Bootstrap is a framework built using CSS. It's pre-built so that developers can just use existing CSS code to build responsive, modern, and eye-pleasing websites. Bootstrap also includes templated designs for items such as typography, form elements, buttons, tables, navigation menus, modals, carousels, images, and nearly all other HTML elements. Bootstrap also uses optional JavaScript plugins to enhance your web page designs and interactivity. Bootstrap is one of the most popular frameworks being used right now. The good thing about Bootstrap is that it's designed to be a mobile-first framework. This means that in regard to responsiveness, it's designed to build responsive websites. And what this means is, you have users who are sitting at their desk on their computers and viewing your website. Then later they go and they grab their iPad, they go sit on the couch somewhere, they go back to your website, and even though the website is formatted differently, it's still beautiful. So, and that's what your goal is these days, with so many people on the go and using mobile devices, phones, iPads, tablets, things like that. You really want to build a website that is smart enough to know, is this user, on a larger screened piece of technology like a computer monitor. Our monitors can be, pretty big, or they could just be regular size. You want the website also to be able to adapt to the smaller screens, even down to a cell phone size screen. So Bootstrap is a really good option when building responsive websites. Right now, Bootstrap 4 is the most current version. Here, if you see, it's a 4.1.3. Now, one thing to keep in mind about Bootstrap 4 is that Internet Explorer 8 and 9 do not support Bootstrap 4. So if you want to code for those specific browsers, you would need to use Bootstrap 3. But in this lesson, we'll be learning a little bit about Bootstrap 4. It's the most current version. In general, we want to stay up to date with our technologies. So now, in addition to CSS, Bootstrap also uses Jquery, which is a form of JavaScript, to create visually appealing modals and tooltips and popovers and things like that. Some of the components that jQuery is used for are things like the closable alerts, buttons, checkboxes, radio buttons, carousels, controls and the indicators, toggling, drop downs, modals to open and close, your nav bars for the collapsible menus, tooltips, popovers, and Scroll Spy for scroll behavior and navigation updates. There are actually a couple of ways that you can incorporate Bootstrap into your website. You can download the files and include them in your project, or you can use what's called the Bootstrap Cdn, the Content Delivery Network. And here, if you go to bootstrap.com, you will see the CDNs. Now these, all you do is you just put that link right into the head section. If you're going to use modals and JavaScript type items from Bootstrap, here's the codes to link to those. And notice that the URL or the file path included is right straight to the Bootstrap CDN servers. One thing to remember is that you must include that Bootstrap link including the JavaScript links if you're using those on each page in your website. Another downfall to using the CDNs is that if for whatever reason Bootstrap servers go down, then it's possible that your pages would not display correctly because again the files cannot be reached. The servers are pretty reliable. I have not heard of any cases where the server has gone down. So we're going to go ahead and go the download route. That way, you know, as you're developing, you don't necessarily have to be online in order to view what your web page is going to look like, because the file path will be pointing to your project folder rather than a server out in cyberspace. So let's go ahead and get started in downloading these files. So go to getbootstrap.com. You'll see a download button right in the middle of the page. We're just going to do a basic download of the compiled CSS and JavaScript. Okay. So under the section of compiled CSS and JavaScript, just click the download button. This will download as a zip file. If you notice over here in my lower left hand corner, I have a zip file here. And when that's done, okay, it's done. What I'll do is I'll just go to show in folder, and that'll pull up my downloads folder. Now your downloads may be directed to a different folder other than downloads, and that's a user preference. Normally by default things will go to the download folder. You have to actually go in and change it yourself. So here is the Bootstrap zip file, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and extract it right here into the downloads. Extract. Right. Once that's extracted, it creates a folder with all of the files in it. And what I'll do then is I'll copy the CSS files into my CSS folder and the JavaScript files into, and here's the JavaScript files into my JavaScript folder. So if you haven't created your folders yet, go ahead and hit pause and take a moment to do that. I'm going to go ahead and close this one out because I have my files here. I'll minimize my web page here. Alright, so here's my folder that I've built to create this Bootstrap website. So let me go ahead and open that up. Alright, so notice I've already created a CSS folder, a JavaScript folder, and I've also created a media folder which will hold my audio, video, and images. It's really important to keep your project files organized so you can keep track of what you're doing and you don't have extra files in there that you don't need. So what I'll do is I'll just open up my JavaScript folder here. Then I'll open up the JavaScript folder from the extraction, and I'll just highlight all of them and move them right on over to mine. Now I'll just use this sort of navigational path here to go back, and I'll do the same for mine. Now open up the CSS folders and just copy all of these CSS's right on over there like that. Now we won't actually use all of these CSS files, and we won't and we probably will not use all of the JavaScript files here. Now that you have the Bootstrap files downloaded into your web project folders, you can begin using them on your web pages. Click it.